People like the steps.
He's got
Yeah.
flex him. What are you doing? Just putting him on like.
I wasn't trying to be embarrassed.
Look, he wants you to flex him. Quick flex for the camera.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Yeah. You see that? That's a
This
big
guy's
dog.
sick with it.
Welcome back to the Rooted Podcast. Today we're diving in to a part of the working dog world that gets talked about a lot, but not really explained.
I think that's my cue to go.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think every week we kind of sit down as a group and try and come up with topics to discuss. And this one really stood out to us. So today we figured we'll take a bit of a deep dive into the world of decoying.
Yes.
Some do's, some don'ts, what we look for, all the great things about decoying. Obviously, it's something that I'm pretty passionate about. So I figured let's dive in and let's chat about it.
Yeah. So before we do, this episode of the Rooted Podcast is brought to you by The Worthless Handler, the lifestyle brand built for handlers, trainers, and canine nerds who get it done. Whether you're polishing obedience, running miles with your dog, or just trying to look like you know what you're doing, Mallory, Worthless Handler keeps you geared up. Check them out at worthlesshandler.com and tag Worthless Handler to show the love to the crew.
Let's go.
Let's
That
go.
was
sick.
man. You have a
It's the coffee. So I'm going to have like stuttering moments. I'm going to have moments where like I mix up my words today, and then I'm going to have moments that are like really good, but the coffee is hitting right now.
yeah. That coffee does hit different. It do, and one thing about that coffee is it makes you keep it nifty. You keep it real.
50
On the
feel.
nifty.
I absolutely hate when
With
you
the
say
Billy
that.
Western.
Why?
Because it just sounds stupid.
Creole.
Okay, one of my favorite things.
Who's here with us?
Oh, right. So I'm Allison.
I'm Mike.
This is Liam here to the right of me.
What up, what up?
Then we have Braxton
Yo.
in his flower shirt today.
Looking
And then we
clean.
have Mallory with her overpriced SZA sweatshirt.
We're doing fit checks.
We're doing
Fit
fit
checks.
checks today.
I feel like I need more respect on my
I wore
dog shirt.
black because we are filming on Halloween, so I am the only one matching
matching.
the theme of the day. Is that not a thing? Like it's
Just
a matching the
black
theme?
on Halloween.
I think it's more
Yeah,
like
black and
costumes.
orange.
on
I got
Halloween.
purple.
Where's your
That's
orange
Halloween.
though?
I have orange underwear on.
Oh God.
Jesus.
Whoa.
My God.
Well.
And we're done.
Yep. It's getting hot and sweaty in here again.
Real hot and sweaty.
So let's dive into talking about decoys, because I think that's obviously something that, you know, whether we're in the suit or we're a handler on the other side that's, you know, having their dog bite a decoy. We've all been around some really great decoys. We've been around learning decoys. We all also know here that Michael is a phenomenal decoy that's recognized internationally. So we are blessed to obviously have his take on this. And I want to start off with just a little bit about what I love about people that actually start doing bite work with their dog or just come and watch for the first time. Then I feel like it is consistently one of these things that I get overly joyed about because I get to see someone experience really like the community and also watching a dog perform like this. And it's almost like this wow, it's like you're a kid watching something, you know, for the first time happen. And it's like, I can't even, it's like this almost like this innocence almost where it's like, wow, that was really, you know, amazing. And the adrenaline's pumping and it's like watching fireworks.
It's like a kid on Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a kid on Halloween.
Yeah.
You're my boo.
Until
This guy.
All right. So I think, the first thing that we're going to kind of dive into about it is like what people think
yeah.
decoys do.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? What are they seeing for the first time? So maybe Mallory, the first time that you saw bite work and you saw a decoy working a dog, what was your initial impression?
I thought it was pretty cool. But like before I had any knowledge, I didn't think there was like much to it. You just kind of get in the suit and then like you're just kind of
get bit.
like you're doing the thing. That's all I really thought about it.
Yeah. Did you, when you watched it for the first time and then you also like saw a dog that was really good at bite work, and the decoy was really good as well, did you like have like this, wow, it's amazing? Or was like your first experience of watching, bite work? Was it Fright and Bite?
I think it was like Fright and Bite before I even started.
So you attended a Halloween competition
That's lit.
around like surrounding bite work, pretty much.
Yeah. I think it was
that's
like
an experience then.
you guys had like the hay bales set up, and it was like a jump through.
Oh, into the back of the truck.
Yeah.
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 Into the truck, into the mic when we're speaking too will help.
Sheesh.
Really trying to work
Sorry.
on that because when I listen back to the podcast, sometimes I can hear my voice going like, and then well,
You just have to
And
keep
then
your
back.
hand on the mic to follow you
hey yo.
when you move.
Hey,
I
fire
think
for that.
something like when we're like, I know the first time that I've seen bite work,
Mm-hmm.
like in live and direct, I was super impressed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's like a bit of like a nostalgic feeling to it, but I also didn't like. I thought every single decoy that I seen work the dogs were amazing, and I thought every dog that I saw do bite work was amazing. Right?
Yeah.
And luckily, like I have some like video memories that pop up. I'm talking about my decoy work
Yeah.
as well.
Your
And it's-
suit was huge.
Yeah, because it
That
wasn't
big
mine.
s- You know,
But I'm like, damn, like at the time I was like, oh man, I'm doing the exact same as some of these guys that I see online or people that I've seen in person, and then like I watch it now, and I was like, okay, like I need to delete this memory off of my Facebook because it's kind of like
Yeah.
that is not that's not as cool as I thought it was.
Well, like my intro to this was, kind of unique in the sense of because it was just you and I when we started doing this, and
Just the two of us.
I had to be the one handling the dogs, and I was still a very new handler. And on top of being a new handler, I was actually having my husband get bet. And so it was like there was a lot of emotions that took place for me where I'm like, I don't want him to get hurt because of my mistake. And oh shit, am I going to get bit? I don't want to get bit. And these dogs are extremely strong.
I feel like some of those sessions that we're doing, you wouldn't have minded too much if I got hurt.
Yeah, that is definitely something we should dive into in this podcast because of adrenaline going and it being such a moment that you have to like capitalize on and you want a good session when you're doing bite work, having that communication between the handler and the decoy and everything, like it was definitely something I would say Mike and I had to really practice because in the early years, he will not admit this and maybe he will on the podcast because the bright lights on you and it feels like an interrogation room.
I've never been in one of those, so I don't-
yeah, that's a crazy assumption.
You did not communicate as well in the beginning. Like there was a lot of you yelling as you were communicating.
yeah,
Screaming.
no, yeah, I would agree to that.
And then that was,
I think it was very.
and you're not
direct.
a yeller.
Yeah, I think it was very direct communication. I think it was really good communication. I was yelling, but very direct. Hey, hold the leash. You know how to say that? Like, excuse me, ma'am. Would you mind as this dog is trying to bite my face off? Just ever so gently hold the leash.
Yeah,
And
but it's not just
thank
hold
you for your
the
courtesy.
leash.
We
It's
don't
not
have
just
all that
hold
time.
the leash. It was like, you have to like take the dog off or post or apply pressure or, stand still or walk with me or back. But I'm saying there's not just hold the leash.
Yeah,
that
but
sounds
all
like
those
for
things
like
that you
the
just
people
said sound
that
like
are-
really
Valid.
good.
Yeah,
Valid communication.
No, but you weren't. I'm not going to scream into the mic.
Oh, okay.
Scream, do it. Can we
No,
just
no,
get
no,
one?
no, 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 no,
Just
no,
back
no.
up a little bit.
Please. I've had enough of Ali screaming in my life.
So that was my kind of throw. Like I'm going to throw into this because it was different for me because I had never experienced bite work until you were in the suit, and it was my husband getting bit by dogs, and it was
Yeah.
my husband sweating his ass off in South Florida. And I'm like, he's going to die in that suit right now from
Yeah.
heat or getting bit in the face.
Came close a couple times too. But I think we should circle back really quick because we know
Wait, we don't know what these two guys were.
just hold on a
Okay.
sec. We're gonna start going back to that decoy style of communication.
Yeah,
in a
just
moment.
start yelling.
No. I think we should circle back really quickly because we have our audience. There's quite different types of people that listen to it. So it may seem really obvious to us on what a decoy is,
Right.
but there may be some people that are listening to the podcast that have no idea what we're referencing when we're talking what a decoy is. So
Ask ChatGPT.
a decoy is the person that is, for those of you that don't know, the person that is wearing the suit and taking the bite from the dog, basically. And oftentimes it's in mainly the sports and the police dog that we work that we do, it's usually suit work. But depending on the sport, sometimes they're referred to as helpers as well. And helpers generally is IGP or Schutzen, and they're wearing a visible sleeve at that point. So I just wanted to add that tidbit in, just in case there's some people that are listening that are not sure what a decoy is.
Right.
All right. Let's jump to Mr. Braxton over here and get what his kind of initial thoughts were when he started to see some decoy work.
So I was about probably 19 when I first got introduced to it. And I would say my initial thoughts were it was just really, really cool.
Yeah.
I was I worked in the jail at the time, and I've been fortunate throughout my life to have some people that really and take me under their wing and teach me a lot of things. But kind of similar to Mike in a way, it was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. But when I first started as well, it was just go in this dark room and stand in the corner and just protect your hands. I remember I used to wear these little rubber hand mittens, and I'd be in this big puffy suit, but it was the coolest thing I'd ever done. And that's kind of where it all started for me.
Okay. Nice. Rubber hand. I think that's
Rubber hands is sick.
I haven't seen that. I've seen the helmets, and I've seen
I've seen
the really large
those leather.
suits, and, I haven't seen those. What about you, Liam?
In person for my first time would have been, I think, orientation day at this wonderful training company called Grassroots K9.
Nice. Heard of them?
Yeah, I've heard of them a little bit too, but I think we wrapped up orientation, and then I'm trying to think who would have worked. Probably some of the black mouths.
Hey.
Probably
I'm
this
sorry to
guy's
hear that.
wildin'. And then TJ, I saw TJ work, and at that time, I was super into game dogs and pit bulls, so I was like, all right, this is pretty sweet.
All right, so it was the combination of the breed, and also too was it a little bit nostalgic for you, being that you just drove across country, and then literally orientation, you're hey, here it is.
Yeah, it was kind of right away. I had been obsessed with protection work and bite work.
Yeah.
Over social media for some time by that point. So yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. What about so then when you get into it, and then you're okay, I have people say the itch for it, right? And they're okay, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and pursue this. Was it what you expected? If you can look back now and then try to as we're reflecting on the first day, is it still consistent to what you expected, or is there more to it, or is it
I think
more simplistic?
I think for me, beginning, kind of what everyone's referencing, I think is you don't know what you don't know. So it's just everything is amazing. But you also kind of minimize a little bit at the beginning of oh, you're just stand in that suit and get bit, and then the dog does what it needs to do. The longer and more interesting and kind of obsessed I became with it, you start to realize there's depth to everything.
Right.
And as soon as you think you have it figured out, still to this day, as soon as you think it's oh, okay, I got this figured out, it's whoa, there's a whole nother level to this that I was unaware of. So I think that's one of the reasons that there are types of people that kind of fall into decoying, right? I think it takes a bit of an obsessive type of personality, someone that is really into minor details, and kind of pinpointing those minor details, and also someone that is really good decoys are always trying to kind of grow and get better and be wow, I like what this person just did. Why did they do that? How did they do that? How can I do that?
Yeah. It's funny that you bring up what you see as far as the characteristic traits, and there's one that you didn't mention, and I don't know if you remember over the years I've told you that I believe that there is a characteristic trait that every decoy that's really phenomenal has. Do you remember what it is?
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
Dancing.
Yeah, I think they
Liam
all
can't dance.
That's
cap.
That's cap. I dance
that.
good. Mike's seen it. I dance good. I was out with the unks.
Yo, hit up, get real quick, stand on the table, do the bachata. Bro. Let's see.
And here why I'm saying this. Okay, I think that I'm just going to use Mike as a reference, but if you watch Michael, his timing is phenomenal, and it's almost if you watch someone that's on the dance floor and it's you can see their movements is almost exactly to the beat perfectly. They don't just miss it. they're like almost marking the beat with their movements. Does that make sense? So if you transfer it over to like decoying and you watch it's almost like the music is coming from the dog. And like, I think there's and I watched other really good decoys, and then I just so happen maybe to see them dance or like just see the way they move, and they're
Were you
not.
seeing decoys dance?
Yeah, what the hell?
Like if I went out, like we went out with someone, at a restaurant, or like I could see them move, or just even like
You'd be at like Chili's, and then if you're eating with your decoy, just stand up and start dancing.
like you can tell a rigid person. Like you can tell when someone's walking if they're super rigid,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like you
that's
can
fair,
almost
yeah.
like, man, why is their butt cheeks really tight?
Oh my
Like-
god! What the
So
heck?
the moral of the story is
Oh, God.
Allie is looking at decoy butt cheeks
Yeah.
quite a bit. Is what it
Just
seems.
hot and sweaty in here all the time.
But
I think that there's
yeah.
also another characteristic that is important, but it kind of depends on what the overall decoy goals are. I think one of those characteristics is someone that is comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And also it's going to sound a bit weird, but if we're trying to pull like the best kind of intentions out of a dog, I think that it's very important that the decoy is also comfortable with violence, right? Violence, even with the sport dogs or whatever we're looking at, like there's still an element of kind of violence that we're dealing with.
For sure.
And to have a decoy that isn't comfortable with violence doesn't mean that they're not a valuable decoy. But I feel like to some point, that decoy cannot teach the dog what it means to deal with actual violence. When we're decoying, we're sparring partners,
right.
right? And if you guys ever sparred or been in a fight, or I'm trained in a combat sport, it's very different when it's like, okay, we're doing like a controlled kind of fight session or sparring session, versus like, okay, now we're going to do some
Game
heavy
on.
sparring, or hey, you're getting in a fight with
Right,
someone,
right.
right? Those are very different things. So now it doesn't mean that decoys can't bring value in the other sides of things, but when it comes to like getting into the kind of intentions of the animal, I think that there's like, you need to kind of have a little bit of like,
Well, I think one of the coolest things that you did when you started doing a lot of decoy fundamental classes and seminars and stuff was bringing in Lucas from
The big dog.
just MMA, where he actually worked with a lot of the decoys that were there to learn how to be a better decoy.
for sure.
And you see such similarity in as far as like also watching you two train outside of doing dogs and doing the sparring and everything like that. It's I think for a good decoy, not only is like your timing really good, but you're reading the dog, you're knowing kind of like, you're kind of predicting like 2 steps ahead. And then you have to read, is it ready? Like the pressure that you put on. And if you think about and I've never been in a sparring match like professionally, but I've had a few instances over my younger years, and you definitely almost have to like read the person that's in front of you. You have to kind of go, okay, he's going to approach me this way and so forth. And I think
You're fighting guys?
Yeah, what the hell?
I was kind of
Crazy.
she. Now that I say that,
He's going to approach me this way, so
yeah.
I'm going to bob and weave. And
well, because I'm trying to create the parallel that I think there is a lot of similarities. And I think
For
when
sure.
you brought Lucas in and you did that, I think you got to see also people get out of their comfort zone.
there's that. I think the other thing that we get like often, like we just actually did a couple of decoy seminars lately, but like one of the things that we get is like there's people that are like really into it, and sometimes this last one we did, there was a guy there that ran like ultra marathons or something like these, whatever I don't even know how a marathon is enough, right? So
Right. I think an ultra is like 100.
yeah, so something crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain to them that because oftentimes when we're really new to decoying, you get bit from a dog and you're wanting to do all the right things, but your brain just isn't working. It's like the oh shit, there's a dog biting me factor. And I was trying to explain to them, like, they're asking, hey, how can we work on our conditioning? And they're very tired after like 1 or 2 dogs. And I was saying that you don't get better conditioning for decoying by running.
Right.
Right. You get better conditioning for decoying by decoying. The other closest thing that I think is relevant is a combat sport, because you're having to also deal with a lot of mental things.
Mm-hmm.
You're having to play like defense and offense, and it's violence,
Right.
So I think that stuff helps as well. The guy said, he's like, you're right. I didn't know that he was this, long distance runner. He's like, no, you're right. I just competed in whatever the event was, and I'm tired right now.
So you just made me think of something. So there's different decoy certifications in the sport world specifically. Like there's some in as far as like what you did with the police stuff where they can get certified after and stuff. But there is conditioning component, but most of it's like running in far as what I know as certification goes. Do you know of any certifications that kind of like focus on what you're mentioning?
I wouldn't say most of it is running. I think that
but they have a big running component.
Yeah,
that you
there's a
have to
running
pass.
component in most of the certs, but there's definitely physical stuff outside of that. Like I wouldn't say it's like the main focus.
What is it? Because I'm more or less, I've never even indulged in looking up what I would need to do because I have no interest in doing that.
Depending on like what you're doing, like I know some of the sports there's like written components and written tests.
Okay.
There's obviously displaying your proficiency in the skill set that is required of you. But for sure, some of it is like, hey, we're gonna get these decoys tired, which is valid for sport. Like we're gonna get them tired and then see how proficient they are with the skills that they have. Because in sports, kind of no matter what the sport is that you're doing, what makes a really good trial decoy is a decoy that can give the exact same work from the first dog of the trial to the last dog of the trial, right? Consistency is kind of the only way that you can get like an accurate kind of scoring, or somewhat accurate scoring. If the first dog of the trial, the decoy has a really full gas tank and it gets like really good work, and then by the 20th dog in the trial, the decoy is tired and they give subpar work, well, that's not a fair scoring scale. Does that make sense?
No, for sure. Now that you brought that up, there's different types of decoys. So there's like trial decoys, right? There's police decoys, or what else?
Training decoys.
Training
I would say
decoys.
I think to me, like there's a multitude of decoys for different things, and like putting them kind of in categories could help with that, right? Like, because we can have like a really good training decoy that may not be their skill set may not be teaching intent, but like maybe they can teach the proper mechanics, the proper targeting, all those things that we want. Then the trial decoy, the most important thing is just consistency and safety. Safety for all of them is super important, but the difference between what I would say a trial decoy and then just a general training decoy is the trial decoy generally is a pretty good athlete and can consistently work those dogs and safely work those dogs. A training decoy, it is kind of what I'm interested in. Is someone that can build a dog up, can say, hey, this raw product that doesn't really know what it's doing, we're going to mold that into a dog that can be effective in what our overall training objectives are.
For sure. Should a trial decoy be also a competitor?
Should they be?
Yeah.
If that's what they want to do. Like,
Would it be beneficial for them?
I think it could be. I'm not a trial decoy, so like
This is all discussion.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think it could be. I think that there's like maybe to an extent, like I don't know how necessary it would be, or like they should.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like I feel like you could be a really good trial decoy and not compete in a sport.
Yeah. I think there's like beneficial aspects that come from like handling or training a dog, but I've also I know decoys that like reputable trainers that I know have said like, hey, this guy can't even hold the leash right, but this decoy is fire. Like I've seen this decoy work time and time again, but it's not like necessary.
Okay. Nice.
I think another thing, another category maybe of like trial and training decoy, I feel like there's also another kind of subcategory would probably be like a testing decoy, like a selection based decoy, which isn't necessarily like a trial decoy.
Okay.
Trial decoy, I'm going to put in the category of they're doing it. This is what we're looking for the sport. This is the consistency that I'm giving. But like a selection type decoy, a decoy that is going to be like, hey, I want to buy a dog for these reasons. And having a decoy that can say, okay, I can take those reasons that you want to buy a dog for, and I can select a dog based off of some of my decoy work. A dog that's going to best fit those or for that criteria.
Right. Makes sense.
And I think that's kind of like unfortunate because I feel like there shouldn't be a discrepancy between trial and the decoy you just explained. Does that make sense? Like in theory, what the sports were created for was to see if this dog was suitable. And like the trial decoys are supposed to be testing dogs for the most part. But we know that doesn't really reflect it. And there's a lot of decoy work that's kind of just doing the dance and like
and I think to an extent though, like the trial decoys are still kind of selecting for dogs that are going to be successful in that sport.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Or dogs that can be successful.
Yeah, but I hear Liam in the sense of like regarding like when you're out there as, I mean, it's kind of like when we run dogs for, you know, like testing day, right? We're not looking to be training them through it. Hey, this is testing day. So there's no training. This is just like, let's see what they can do. That's it. Basically, the trial is that. So, I mean, it's like them testing the dogs as a decoy almost.
Kind of, but the trial, like when we're selecting dogs, I'm not selecting dogs for training that they've had. I'm selecting dogs for who they are. A trial decoy
for sure. Okay,
is selecting
I see that.
for training on top of who the dog is.
Okay, that's a good point. Huh. If there ever is like this awkward pause in the podcast, it's because my brain's going, oh, that makes sense.
It's time to ponder.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like we need to have like a little like light bulb that goes off in my head just to let the audience know like, hey, I'm thinking.
A little ponder pause.
Blake needs to edit a little thought bubble for what's in Allie's brain
A light
right
bulb
now.
just goes off?
Yeah, light bulb and then thought bubble of thinking.
Because when Liam was saying that, I was like, that's true because the decoys are supposed to be out there testing, you know, the dogs through it. But then when Mike was putting it that way, I mean, really good points, guys.
And I think
Appreciate that.
like to clarify, there's a lot of trial decoys that are definitely applying very suitable and scaled pressure for whatever level and are like doing a phenomenal job. But I don't think the standard for, let's just say all sports, like I don't think all decoys are doing that. But like there's definitely a lot that are.
Yeah, which is challenging in itself, right? Like you think anytime I'm trying not to be super critical of things, at least publicly. But like you look at like how big some of these sports are. Like to have a trial that happens on this side of the world for this level have the exact same type decoy work as a trial on the other side of the world at that level is like, it's basically impossible. You know?
Right. Yeah. Right.
So like getting it as consistent as possible should be the goal, but I don't think it'll ever be there until they make drones that are using AI. And
AI is just a robot decoy.
Something I want to talk about as well with, you know, as we're talking about decoying and stuff. So there is truth to, I want my dog to see, especially, you know, this made me think about for the trialing reasons. I want my dog to see multiple decoys. Okay. We're getting trial ready. I want my dog not to only have seen the decoy he's predominantly been working with. Okay. I understand that. Do you think it's important for a dog that's building and we're working on like some of the foundational stuff, to see multiple decoys during that time frame? So say you're taking like an 8-week-old pup to, let's say, a year.
Yeah, I think hard question, right? Like, and that the answer is always like, it depends.
Okay.
And this is not to like hype up my puppy, but to hype up my puppy. Like the vast majority of Polly's bite work has been with Liam.
Right.
Right. I'm pretty comfortable that Polly's going to bite the same, no matter who's working her. But to an extent, it's my job as her handler to kind of guide her through that process, right? So we want them to bite other decoys, but I don't want them to bite other decoys just for the sake of biting other decoys. I want them to be really comfortable in what they do and who they are. Before we start saying, okay, well, we're going to put you on a decoy that may be of lesser skill or more skill or just different style of communication.
But
I want to make sure that the dog is first and foremost kind of comfortable in who they are.
Yeah, because we've ran into that, especially like when, I mean, Liam, you've had enough, bite work clients at this point, and Mike, back in the day when you were doing, more client sessions and stuff like that for bite work, you would have someone go get work done. We're working with you consistently, and you're almost like you're hitting your progression plan, and then they may go, oh, well, like, last weekend my friend invited me out to her club and so worked the dog. And you were like, you can almost tell in that. And then there's obviously, it's a hard thing to manage because you see some people like, I have a seminar, well, I want to take this opportunity to go work with this decoy. But I have seen where it's been beneficial and in that development period where they got exposed to a different decoy that may have been, brought some skills to the table that his current helper or home decoy didn't have. But I've also seen the downfall of it, of the inconsistency in the work that was being presented to the dog.
Yeah, for sure. But like, it's obviously dog dependent. And if maybe a little counter to what like industry standard is, but like if your dog has some decoy work that is different than their home-based decoy work, and it has that much of an impact on who that dog's character is, probably isn't the best dog for what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Right? Is kind of how I would approach it. Now, for sure, there's vulnerabilities with everything we do in dog
I think
training.
also, too, like if a client comes and they're troubleshooting something.
Yeah, but if they like it, I love it. That's my attitude.
Okay.
If you like it, I love it. Let's talk really quickly decoy wise. Kind of touched on it a little bit of like that oh shit factor. First little while when dogs are biting us, I find it very hard for new decoys to bring that much, if anything, beneficial to a dog when we're teaching them something, because they can't get over that oh shit, there's a dog biting me factor. I think through repetitions, once we get to the point of getting over that, there's a dog biting me fact. My first initial moves when I'm working a dog is I try to call it like downloading information. I don't know what this dog's kind of status quo is. I don't know what's the norm for this dog. So we try and like figure it out, and just being blessed in the position that kind of all of us have been put in, we've got the opportunity to get our hands on like a lot of dogs, right? So there are some benefits that come with that. The downfall is if we're working new dogs pretty consistently, it's hard for us to build like rapport. That like, hey, I know that Fluffy bites like this because I work Fluffy every single week, multiple times, right? So I think that there's a skill set for decoys to be able to like make real time inference from the information that the dog's giving us, and adjusting kind of on the fly. Justin Rigney has a really good saying, and I'm going to butcher it for sure, but it's like decoying isn't a scripted dance, right? We can't just go into decoy and be like, step one, I'm going to do this. Step two, I'm going to do this. We have to be able to download information.
You got to have rhythm.
And then respond to that information. Like it's a two-way communication, right? Like we're uploading and downloading. So like getting info and giving back, I think is super important dynamically, not just with this is what I plan to do. Making sense? Kind of experience do you have like with that, Liam?
Yeah, like it's honestly like kind of one of my like favorite things is like getting a fresh dog and like working it, being like, oh, this dog's either fire, or like with a lot of the sport dogs, now that we're down here and it's just a bunch of fresh dogs, not to shit on sport dogs because like it's something that sport people probably don't really care that much about, but it's like I care more about, is like the temperature check, like, oh, like how do you feel about my hand on your stomach, or my hand running down your back, or starting to grab your flank, and kind of seeing like a lot of these dogs that probably haven't seen these pictures before. Again, not dissing like sport decoys at all, it's just like catch and drive the dog, like as long as it's fine with that, then good to go. But like I want a dog that's kind of comfortable with maybe more than what most people are. So personally, like I like it a lot. Kind of seeing what a dog's about, kind of where it stands, either genetically or previous training wise.
Yeah, for sure. And just being able to kind of real time analyze that and go through. And again, I think that's just something also that comes with reps.
Yeah.
You know, if we can't think while the dog's biting us, there's not really much that we can do to offer or help better that dog in those moments.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna single out Mallory here because I think this isn't to put you so much on the spot, but you are newer. You know, you've been in the studio a couple times, and I've been blessed to be able to, you know, travel with Mike and see thousands and thousands of decoys, and I've also been blessed to be married to him. So I am a little.
She is blessed.
Yeah.
So
Hot and sweaty.
how do you spot a good decoy? Like what when you see, you're like, oh, that's a good decoy.
I think.
Into the mic.
Sorry. I mean, like, number one is kind of like I look at the dog first, and I'm like, does this dog kind of know what it's already doing? And then, like, at that point, it's harder for me to kind of pinpoint, like, what the decoy, like, if it's good or not. Because if the dog's just kind of, like, already built and, like, knows what it's doing, then, like, after that, the nuances, like, I don't really know. But when I see, like, a dog that I'm like, oh, it's, like, doesn't really know what it's, like, supposed to be doing right now.
So a dog doesn't know what it's doing. That's a representation of the decoy.
Well, then, like, if the dog comes out and it looks like it's, like, not going to do well,
Yeah.
and then whoever the decoy is, if they're able to actually get that dog to then, like, turn up a little bit and, like, be like, have, like, the dog clicks and they're like, oh, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Then I look at the decoy and I'm like, okay,
That's
they kind of got what they're.
super valid because we've talked about it before. Like the kind of the cheat code of like working dog seminars is bite work.
Yeah.
Is kind of decoying, right? Because like if a dog has had kind of maybe just some poor communication in its decoy work before, and then you get it as a decoy, you get in front of it, like real time right there, we'll see major improvements in how that dog bites, generally speaking, right? Where like some of the other disciplines, like tracking, detection, your obedience, stuff like that, like you have to get some buy-in for a little while and get some pretty good reps in before you start to see as much of a return on investment.
Yeah, but she touched on something that I will say you have to toe the line on, if that's a saying. Because is that a saying? What's the saying I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Just run with
Just
it.
go.
You got
But
it.
there's decoys who are not, in my opinion, you know, where I would put them on a high caliber decoy just because they can get the dog to react, right? So there's certain dogs where like they put on this massive display because of what the decoy is doing, but inevitably, like they just weren't really doing that great of a job, really. Like it's just the decoy doing this massive dance and the dog's firing up, and now all of a sudden this dog looks fire. But if you kind of know what you're looking at, you just know that dog's in crazy amount of defense and is super uncomfortable about being there, right? So the decoy can make that performance, and then you can go, well, that's a really good decoy. But if you really don't know what you're looking at, you can, you know, put yourself in a difficult situation. Now your dog is just being reactive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sorry, can you clarify? Like,
So there's an example that I would, you know, you had a dog, for example, like that came to you, and the owner was saying that it, you know, showed you all these different types of videos, right? And you weren't comfortable with doing some of the things that that decoy previously was doing because it wasn't really teaching the dog to be proficient in biting and wasn't really teaching the dog the proper skills. And so you needed it, so it didn't look as aggressive and it didn't look as intentful because you were taking the steps to get to the dog so it was comfortable biting, it was comfortable doing these behaviors, right? But if you came in there and you were doing whips and all kinds of crazy dances, you could have shown that as well, but you as a good decoy go, that's actually not what the dog needs. So when Mallory made the reference and said, I look at how the dog is performing and then that kind of represents how the decoy is.
That's in line with what you're saying, though. like it's what Mallory said is in line exactly with what you're saying, because like you're doing the same thing. You're looking at how the dog is performing and saying, I can see through this performance of the dog that this is not what I want of my dog to be doing.
But the people that are new to it could say, okay, my dog's putting this massive display and I'm not understanding the different drives that the dog's going into. And I may say that this is something that, oh, this decoy must be really good, when really it doesn't look as pretty or, let's say like dramatic for when you're taking the slower steps. Does that make sense?
Sure, yeah.
So I don't just look at the dog. I look at the communication between the decoy and the dog. But I think for someone that's new and maybe listening to this podcast could take their dog to a new decoy and their dog is performing like really crazy and their drool and their
yeah, but if they like it, I love it. Like if that's what they want their dog to perform like, then they should go to the decoy.
Then they shouldn't be surprised if they go to another decoy, such as like Liam, that's going, okay, I want to take the foundational steps. I want to take the steps that go, well, now he's the bad decoy because this decoy was able to get this performance out of my dog, but this decoy is not getting that exact performance right now.
Yeah, but if that's what if they want that performance out of their dog, then they should go to that decoy.
Yeah, but I think part of the decoys, I think what makes also a good decoy is the educational component of why you're taking these steps.
Sure. I'd say like in my experience, like with situations like that, typically you can articulate to the best of your ability like what you're trying to explain to the person who's bringing their dog to you. Again, this is a generalization or maybe just my experience, but typically those people who maybe their dog looks really nasty on a back tie and is like feeling defensive, but isn't going to do the task that they actually want as far as like the end goal goes. Typically those people don't really want to hear that and they just want like their cool Instagram video and to carry on.
Yeah, but I think it's also too, like part of this is we want to make sure that we're providing some education. And I think that for those people that have those types of dogs, like trusting the decoy that's actually willing to take the time and is patient with the development versus just pushing it so far past its threshold is extremely beneficial. So if you go to a decoy,
I don't think that I've seen that much though. Like I think that I've seen dogs that.
Well, you haven't been in the pet side for a while that kind of like dive into the working dog component.
I've seen dogs that have had that type of decoy work, but generally, like those dogs are probably going to plateau. With other types of decoy work anyway. So that's what I'm saying. Like if that's what their overall goal is, if they're looking for like a defensively reactive barky dog, and then they should continue to go to those decoys.
Like the dog you were referencing could never get to the goal the owner wanted. And like I had explained that to the owner.
Yeah, but like I guess too on the receiving end for someone in my position, I'm also the one usually having to take the call of someone that's going, well, my dog's not doing this, but it did it here.
But I know, you know how you should answer those calls? You know how you should answer them?
What?
Go back to him.
Either that or, hey, I'm not a decoy. So you can talk to our decoys.
Yeah. But when financials get involved, like
What?
I have to, like when there's
She's
like I
saying
want a
the
refund,
owner or
or
client
like,
is complaining.
yeah, like someone's complaining that that decoy hasn't fit the caliber.
Tell the decoy.
Okay, maybe they had that conversation.
Yeah. Did they say, Liam, you didn't fit the caliber?
No, that didn't happen with that.
No,
that
that client is happy.
Yeah,
to
that
this
didn't happen with
day,
that
but
situation.
He's lying.
no cap. Client is happy.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's just like when you brought that up, that made me think of like sometimes I think how the dog is actually displaying doesn't necessarily represent how the decoy.
I think every time how the dog is displaying represents the decoy, is
Okay.
my opinion.
Got it.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I know.
Here we go.
I don't know why he's so sassy all of a sudden.
It's hot and sweaty, y'all. It's hot and sweaty.
Yeah. Do you need some water?
I think that is the case, though.
I don't.
If
I
the dog
think that
doesn't reflect the decoy, why?
If a decoy's just dancing for the dog,
Then it's reflecting the decoy.
but it doesn't mean that they're a good decoy. Is what I'm saying. Like just because of how the dog.
I think
It's been a
looks.
while
Can
since
I-
you've decoyed.
All right. everyone,
God.
let's relax. Let's cool off. It's too hot and sweaty. I'm gonna close this segment out with I think 99% of the behavior a dog is displaying during bite work is due to the decoy, because the decoy is the one training that dog in the moment.
Big facts.
So I'm gonna
That's
say
not
that.
what I'm saying though. I'm
not saying anyone's saying that. This is the closing segment. It's hot and sweaty. Let's run to a commercial break real quick. We're gonna get some water and
I
come
actually need
back.
to pee though, for real.
All right, yeah, I need to pee too. Blake, cut it. We'll be back in a minute.
This episode of The Rooted is brought to you by Worthless Handler. Since 2018, Worthless Handler has been manufacturing morale and pissing off admin with gear that speaks the truth of handlers, trainers, and working dog enthusiasts.
From bold patches to apparel, it's not just merch, it's a statement. Support those who support this podcast by heading over to worthlesshandler.com and check out their gear today.
Shout out, Gary. All right, we are back after a little intermission, and we're gonna get straight back into some more stuff. We had a pee, we had a cool off, and we're ready to go. Start cooking, Mike.
All right. I got a black eye after the break.
This
I
guy's
don't know if you can see my eyes
ridiculous.
a little swollen.
This guy's ridiculous.
So anyone out there?
God.
Allie, you want to apologize to me?
I wish I gave you a black eye.
All right. Let's get to
Oh God.
so we talked a bit about trial decoys and training decoys. For a training decoy, what does that entail when we talk about them building a dog up? Like, how do they build a dog? Come on, Braxton.
Let's go,
Yeah.
Braxton.
I would say one of the most important things probably that like I'm trying to learn right now would be like finding thresholds for pressure and teaching the dog how to work through when you find a threshold where like Liam said, for instance, like maybe I put my hand on your flank or I rub my hand down your back.
Hey,
If
Hot and
the
sweaty.
dog, I feel like being able to recognize if I run my hand
Grow up, man.
this
What is
guy needs to
wrong with
grow up.
if I run
This guy's mind is in the gutter.
Why aren't you saying
Just say
dog
something
though? Like,
different.
why aren't you
Just
saying
say
when
grab-
I run
grab
my
their
hand
paw.
down the dog's
Oh my
back?
God.
you?
Like,
Is it
when you-
Liam?
Yeah.
When I run my hand.
just say grab their paw or something.
yeah, if I grab the paw and
It's like if I grab her foot.
and maybe the bite mechanics start to the dog gets a little chewy, I'm probably not going to go straight into picking the dog up by its flank, right?
Okay.
I think like a good training decoy is going to recognize that, okay, the bite mechanics got a little worse when I grabbed the paw. So let's teach the dog how to work through that before we and check off that box before we go to something that maybe is or a little more pressure
Yeah,
in the
beyond-
work. Yeah.
Beyond what the dog's ready for. Yeah, for sure. I think for me, that is also like a good training decoy understands that, not just in theory, but also like the practical side of it, right? Like being able to say, hey, first and foremost, identifying where thresholds are, but then in your work, being systematic with pushing and letting the dog know how to deal with that type of pressure. When we talk about pressure, when we see this a lot at like police dog seminars or workshops. Everyone gets really obsessed with pressure. So I have to try and get a working definition for what pressure is. To me, pressure is stress, right? Something that the dog finds stressful. Now, stress can be like 100 or it can be very minimal, and we want to work through those levels of stress, all the while letting the dog know that they can be empowered through the stress and that they can overcome it, right? When we're training them, that's kind of what our job is, right? Our job is to continue to build the dogs and make them stronger and stronger through like stress kind of inoculation, but not just dealing with the stress, right? I don't want them just to go on the ride of being stressed, but I want them to know how to turn the stress off, how to thrive through the stress, not just kind of be there.
So let's get some specific examples. Everyone loves stories, and Anybody have any stories that they can reflect on that kind of talks about whatever Michael's blabbering about?
Oh my god.
Oh, my wife
Good.
she's such a
Is
sweet.
good.
Look at you know what?
She's
Let's
just
go
staring at me
around the
now.
circle
I
and
don't-
everyone give Allie a compliment.
No, Michael,
All right.
literally.
Your
I'm
hair
going
looks-
to kick
your hair
you off
looks
this
nice
podcast.
today.
She's
Like
about-
I'm going to you were going to be.
Okay, so the
Stop.
example we knew that this
example. I needed examples. I would like examples.
we knew that this
Does
segment was
anybody
coming
have
up.
examples of thresholds when they're pushing them and working a dog that they can go, this was either really nice or I pushed too far?
Are you at that threshold right now?
Anybody?
Yes, I have an example.
Perfect. Why don't you share it in the mic?
Oh my god.
Dog specific, or can it be outside of dogs?
We're talking. Braxton, do you have an example of when
Oh
you
my
worked a
God.
dog? There has to be some more recently too, because with you guys having dogs on course right now, you have two different dogs specifically that are at different levels, and they also have different types of like styles in their bite mechanics and stuff like that. So
Yeah. I think I'm thinking of
and I run my hand down.
I'm thinking of one right now specific, but I wasn't working the dog, but Liam was working the dog.
okay, so what did Liam fuck up?
Nah, he didn't. He didn't mess
She's
anything.
just pissed at everyone
Yeah,
now.
she's
So
just-
No, I
everyone's
didn't
talking
think
straight.
he messed anything up. It was just new to the dog, and the dog popped off for a second, and then but he worked through it and came and
Mhm.
engaged again.
Which dog was it?
Coco
Mm,
in
get rid of him.
the yard.
Oh, hot cocoa.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Get rid
okay.
of them.
Yeah, but like stuff like that happens, and if you're a good decoy and you work through it, you know it can be a
Doesn't
good
happen.
learning moment for
Yeah.
the dog as well as the decoy.
I feel like ideal world, it's not gonna happen, but
Yeah, but we all
Um,
can't live in an ideal world.
well, we can strive for it.
For sure.
I like that attitude.
Absolutely.
I like that attitude.
Absolutely. We can definitely strive for it. But you work through it. So do you know what example he's talking about?
Yeah, I do. I actually, like, all in all, it was kind of a funny
Can you
moment.
explain it to the audience? Because I
Um,
don't really even know.
Yeah, we were doing some open area searches, and the dog came and got on bite. And it's kind of like my default isn't to go to like a ton of pressure because we're showing newer pictures or maybe striving for different like ideas or pieces that the dogs are putting together versus like a session where, hey, maybe we're focusing on putting pressure.
Right.
But yeah, I picked the dog up. The dog's doing phenomenal overall. Kind of did a temperature check throughout that, like hand under stomach, dog's punching in, countering in nicely. And to be honest, I don't even really know what happened in the dog's head, but he was already up and countering nicely and decided he didn't like that no more. So he popped off. And then I kind of ran back and then esquived him and he flew into some bushes and then came back really, really mad. And then ended on like some really nice gripping behavior and a big win for him. And he was hyped up and then went to bite Mike. But
Nice. Who was also in the suit, I'm assuming.
yes, I would hope so. I was out of the picture by then, but unless he
Okay.
took it off, then
Okay. Okay, cool. I think there's also like a specific time that I can think of is like I've had dogs that have been a little bit more like it's hard to kind of interpret like what the issue is, but like where you ever walk in on your dog and it's on a bite and its ass end keeps moving away from you constantly and stuff like that, and the pressure of the handler. I think you see that quite a lot. And I think what has helped me is actually having the decoy be conscious of us and let's like work through that, because a lot of people don't realize that is pressure for the dog, and it could be that, hey, the fun is done, or it could be like, hey, I don't like this handler, or whatever it may be.
yeah, depending on the
But I
dog
can-
and its genetics.
Yeah, I can think of some times, throughout my experience of that being the case, for sure. Mallory?
Do I have to have like my own specific example?
No. This is story time.
Does it have to be like one where it's like it was too much for the dog, or can I just say like
Yeah, it could be either it wasn't too much, or I watched the decoy, push it and it did really well. Like
my I don't know, Annie's like kind of at a point where like we're not really like pushing things really, right?
No, I disagree. I think session to session we're still pushing Annie.
Yeah, but nothing like that
Like pressure wise, like more pressure being added, or what do you mean?
I don't know.
I think like the kind of how Mike defined it, like as far as when we're talking about pressure, like it's a difficult thing for maybe people who aren't super experienced as decoys to describe, because pressure looks different to every dog.
For sure.
Like,
and I think that's what makes you a good decoy, understanding that.
Yeah, for sure. So like, I won't use Annie as an example, but it could be something very minuscule, like dogs that maybe are used to super vocal decoys, and then like Mike and I, for the most part, when we're working, I'm like pretty squared away dogs aren't really vocalizing too much. Like it's more the physical for us. So like, I feel like it's tough to answer, but for Annie, I'd say session to session, she is still working through pressure.
You actually just made me think of another story. So Brielle's dog, Bam, we had really early on, and he originally was going to... What is your problem? I feel like you're doing something to the left of me. Are you doing something?
This guy's got a problem.
I've been quiet
This
because
guy's
you
got a
started to
problem.
get freaking
But
raging
you're
out.
doing something because Braxton's
Over
looking at you and
threshold.
laughing.
Yeah.
I can see
Yeah.
it.
No, he's not doing
I'm
anything.
gonna have Blake pull up the camera.
No,
He's got a
He's just
problem.
looking at me.
He's got a
Like, he's just
problem.
Blake, when
funny,
you put
bro. I can't help it.
yeah, you just need to keep the double screen on because I need to watch what he's doing.
Blake, don't do that.
But what I was gonna say is, like, so Bam was he was just like this anomaly as far as like bite work goes. I feel like Michael, I've never seen him do this like recently, I should say. But like, how young was Bam when he was on the suit?
3 months.
Probably 8 weeks old.
No, I think there is
Yeah, like sink or swim.
the video's on YouTube, and I think he's 3 months old.
Yeah, so like it was just one of these dogs that I
Don't
swear.
recommend doing that.
Yeah.
No, like this was again 9 years ago. And also
Is he 9 years old?
he's 9 years old.
Damn.
Yeah, he turns 10 in
He looks
October.
about
And he looks-
57.
No, sorry, he turns 10 next summer. But yeah,
Okay.
he just turned 9.
Wow.
But anyway, so we ended up selling him to a amazing client. Shout out to him. And he owned, like, they're called like check and cash. You have to help fill in the blanks in the story. So check and cash.
Yeah, he had a few different businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was very little that, like, Bam being defensive, and that's kind of like a defensive stance of like guarding a store. And like most of the times, like people aren't running away, they're not running into the building, not turning into prey. He was very, very, very type prey dog. I feel like I want to say type A, but like he was a prey monster in that regard. And so Michael needed to pull out a little bit more defense out of him. And I'm talking the amount of pressure that this dog could withstand was just, I mean, he was just phenomenal. And it's crazy because even when he became Brielle's dog, one of the scenarios is like carjacking, right? And they get scored on his display and his barking and everything. And Bam would literally just see the hidden sleeve or, you know, the decoy walking up, and he just like prey lock on it. And like no pressure applied to Bam ever really kind of impacted him. Would you say, like, would you agree with that? Like, he was just one of those dogs that it felt like anything you did to Bam, he was cool with.
Yeah. I feel like Bam also is the type of dog that just kind of goes along for the ride, though.
Yeah.
Like, in that, like, he's definitely prey locks, but he wasn't like ever like super.
He wasn't like diva prey either, I should say.
Yeah, but he also just goes for the ride, like
Yeah.
not like inflicts his will. If that does that make sense? What I'm saying, like there's
Yeah.
some dogs that are like, oh, if you do this, I'm going to do
I
this
got
back
this-
to you.
yeah.
He was just like, okay, like, you could do whatever. I'm gonna hang out here and go for this ride. Which to me personally is like, I want a dog that wants to kind of also inflict their will.
Yeah, but we did see one time when Brielle was on the trial field, and it was our Tampa.
Yeah, but that's still not. I wouldn't put that in the category of kind of what I'm referring to. Like, I like, because Bam is the type of dog that he is.
Yeah,
Like what you're describing, he'll just go with everything. Like,
he just
it's
like
not gonna.
he's there for the motion.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just gonna go here, like, but not so much of like proactive kind of forwardness.
Yeah.
My preference is.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that was just when you brought up the pressure conversation, bam, definitely
I'm gonna get a pen on my face.
came to mind. Okay, cool. Any other stories you guys wish to share?
I think for decoys, again, just to kind of recap what we're talking about, training decoy, a really good training decoy overall can identify stress thresholds and then push those stress thresholds further and further through the sessions. Everyone kind of on board with that?
Yep.
That means?
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. So I want to go ahead and talk about a little bit about our sponsorship. If you're interested in sponsoring the Rooted podcast, reach out. Whether you're a canine gear company, dog brand, or someone who actually supports real work, we love to talk to you. Email us at info@grassrootscanine.com or message us here on the podcast. And that should be closing it out. If you guys have any decoy stories, bite work questions, sport versus street debate, anything like that, and you wish to bring it to the table for us to discuss, make sure you guys comment or shoot us a message. But thank you guys so much for joining us for episode 7. As Michael recapped a little bit, the decoy has huge influence on how a dog understands pressure and conflict. Done right, it creates confidence and purpose. So with that, I'll pass it over to Mike to shout out Worthless Handler.
This episode of the Rooted podcast is brought to you by the Worthless Handler, the lifestyle brand built for handlers, trainers, and canine nerds who get it done. Whether you're polishing obedience, running miles with your dog, or just looking or trying to look like you know what you're doing, Worthless Handler keeps you geared up.
Let's go.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Subscribe, leave a review, and share the episode. We'll see you next time.
See you next. Is there an ice pack anywhere for my eye?
This guy's eye is hurting.
I might give you a black eye.
What'd you call me?
Oh, black. What the hell?